leveraging AI is really critical. I do have a give for anybody who is interested. If they're not super familiar with ChatGPT or how to use ChatGPT, I know this is on the video, but this is a QR code that I created. It also kind of shows you a little bit how, like, the meta lesson behind it is the automation, which is kind of fun. But it's a workbook that we created for anybody that's not really familiar with ChatGPT. So we created the 25 best ways to utilize ChatGPT. Like, what are the prompts? Like, what are the best prompts that you could use ChatGPT for your business, the use cases? And then we also put in that workbook 10 ways to improve your response outputs with your tone analyzer, because we want to make sure that that the ChatGPT and the AI understands what your tone is. So if you scan that QR code, just tell us what email to send this to. And the meta lesson there is, while you doing that, you will see how fast automation works to deliver some things. And it's not fancy, it's not sexy. The automation that we use, the toolkit, it's maybe costs less than $100 a month to have things happen rapidly using tech, and then obviously some team involved there too. So there's a little bit of a meta lesson there for you to experience. But the last thing I'll say on this, and then I'll open it up, is Dan Martell says 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. By you leveraging AI-informed virtual assistants to do these things for you, it's not going to be 100% perfect. You might still need to do a little bit. But the beautiful thing is 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. So you're winning back your time. And that's what we want for business owners. You don't have to be in control of everything. You just want to be in control of the things that matter the most to your energy and to your bottom line.
Yeah. And one thing that I love about AI can be this black hole of so many things, right? The example that you shared in that video, and then also just with ChatGPT in general, the one thing that I like about that is that it's not perfect out of the gate, but even if it's a bad idea, it gets you thinking on how you can optimize it to be better. So it's easier to look at a bad idea and think how I would make this better versus starting with a complete blank space and having no clue where to start at all. That's one of the things that I love. And then you're also taking AI to another level where it's not just you using the AI, you're training the virtual staff to use the AI, which in my mind just accelerates this to a completely different level.
Absolute game changer. I mean, to have the AI know me, and then to have my team of virtual assistants also understand what we want to get done with these outcomes, it's been transformative. And that brings up to the final piece of this puzzle, which is making sure you as the business owner have a good process. You want to have a good process thought out. So the wrap up of epiphany number 2 is AI in your workflows simplifies things for sure, and you're positioning yourself as a forward thinker in your industry. The final epiphany for me is designing a process that could be duplicatable, that can run without you. And right now at this moment, Mike, literally as I'm talking to you, I have a Mike Abramowitz in my Gmail. I have someone else in my Outlook. I have someone else on my Facebook, someone else on my LinkedIn. I have someone else on my Instagram right now at this moment. I also have someone managing our active campaign CRM at this moment. There's someone else sending messages right now, sending emails. They're listening to podcasts and trying to get me on their podcasts. That's as me. So I have a team, without exaggeration, right now, probably 12 Mike Abramowitzes working as me, for me, just not by me. So I'm here with you while I have these processes in place that are getting things done at the exact same time. So thinking about that, what that means for your business, how can you think of a process that is simple, that somebody else can do for you as you, just not by you? And when you can do that and build it in a way that's really easy to implement, that's this third piece of that puzzle. So what you might say, well, what is a process? A process is a smooth transition. It's a meticulous design. Our way of saying this, as far as in Better Than Rich, is a business system is a series of processes, policies, and technologies that aid in the goals. So a process is a series of if-then statements. That's all a process is. A policy is a series of rules that back that up, and the technology is the tools that they'll use in order to help that system operate and function. The analogy that I like to use here is making it as simple as possible. I just moved into our new home, and when I was trying to set up my Netflix account, all it was scan this QR code, boom, it popped up on my phone. It was really easy. When I went to log into Hulu, I had to go actually log in to my email and password, and that was friction. So that's just a small example. How can you build on the user experience where there's no friction at all? It is seamless. It's like almost like magic. And that's why the meta lesson of why I did that QR code scan for you is so you can see it's like, oh, that immediately pulled me up to a website, and that immediately asked for my information, and that immediately created an email. Like, the more we can create seamless experiences like that as a business owner for our users, the better. So I have a couple of examples here. I like Michael Gerber's E-Myth. I don't know if you've ever read that, but it's a really great resource for you. And here's an example of that. So I don't know if you've used Calendly before, or Texting Base, or a texting platform, or Zapier. This is just an example. So an example would be capture prospects' contact info, enter onto a sheet, send a personalized text with a link to book a call, and having a timely reminder email sequence. All of this is the process that can happen instantaneously and automatically, but it takes a little bit of creativity to do it. And this is where you as the business owner can think this through. So I'll show you a quick example.
So if you're not using this technology, you definitely want to. It's called Zapier. So I just built this out for one of my clients where when a new spreadsheet row is added, so when a new spreadsheet row is added, it adds a contact in the texting base and send a text message. And the text message then says, hey, I'm going to be I'll be in Tampa doing Cutco sharpening appointments. Click the link to arrange a time for me to come by. And then we built out in this link to send, we built out the sharpening for that area. So that way that customer can automatically just book up appointments and get on the representative's calendar all through an automated text message sequence. You gotta get on this technology. It is life-changing.
So that's just an example. And again, we could go into many different use cases. A friend of our dad, Matthew French Holt, actually, he is someone who built out an entire onboarding process with this using Thinkific. And he created this 4-hour training once. His new staff members go through this training, and it's helped him save dozens and dozens of hours using a platform like Thinkific, a learning management software. I have a couple other points I'll hit on, but is there any curiosities on this? And then I'll tie a bow on how to McDonaldify your business using this if-then logic, using like SOPs, and then we can open up for any Q&A.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I do have a question, and then tying a bow on it as we transition into the community Q&A. You mentioned all these Mike Abramowitzes around the world. You're just cloning yourself. And I'm thinking of just, I would say, your stereotypical business owner. And I'm looking at that and be like, okay, well, how much does this cost to replicate myself? What can somebody expect? Every time you clone yourself, what is that investment that you're talking about reinvesting? What does that look like? Like, what are the dollars out that somebody could expect to pay? Again, everybody's situation is different. Yeah. Just a very, very, broad brush thought process behind this. And then as you're putting that bow, don't forget to tell everybody on the public facing podcast here where they can find out more about you and how to get in touch. I know we've touched on it a little bit with the quiz, but make sure that's very clear for people to get in touch with you.
The short answer to your question is it depends. And that's not the best answer, but here's what I would say. It started with me when I was writing my books. I have 9 books. I went to Fiverr.com and I said, Fiverr, I need a copy editor. So I had a copy editor. That's my new Mike Abramowitz, copy editing. And then I need a cover design. Went to Fiverr.com, found me a cover design. And I was just using Fiverr as my like sourcing of myself, but it was still requiring me to go find these people, trust that they did good work, vetting them, and then like making sure that they were available at the times I needed them. So there was like friction there for me. So eventually I just hired my own virtual assistant. and I hired my first virtual assistant. I paid a company $2,500. They found me a qualified VA. I was working with her, and then I got referrals from her to join our team. And then I had a team of other people from her that was working with, and I paid them. And then it started just like me having my own little team around me. And that's what it started. So I paid this company. But the challenge was, Mike, that company they paid $2,500 to, they didn't show me how to pay her. They didn't show me how to train her. They didn't give me any tutorials. They didn't show me how to track her hours. There was literally nothing. There was no coaching. There was just like, I'll just provide you a VA. And I was lost. So I took all of the pain points that I experienced from using their service and created our own service. So now, instead of getting one, like our service, to answer that question, we don't provide just one assistant, we provide a full team. So we provide a full team of virtual assistants. Each client gets an account manager, and then they have a team of virtual assistants that will do a team of doers. So it's not just one, because if it's one person, well, that one person's doing tasks over here, I want them all done at the same time. So we provide a team. That was one cool little thing that we offer. We also offer coaching and tutorials. So like there's tutorials for a business owner that's like, how do they know what to offload? How do they offload those things? We have some tutorials for them and some coaching. And so we essentially took the best of what was and the worst of what was. We made the worst better and kept the best. And that's how we've been modeling our virtual assistant services. And it's been remarkable. There's probably about 15 front row dads that use us and use the virtual assistant services. So you could ask them. Obviously, this isn't front row dads, but there's many overlapping communities here. Yeah, I mean, some name drop, Matt Drinkon, Mike Green, Jameson. I see Jameson on here. He's one of our clients. So you could ask him. I mean, we have, like I said, there's probably about 15, Matt Wilbur, Matt Bergstrom, Adam Zock. I'm just going through my list, Tom Latuga, Tom Weichert. These are just a bunch of individuals who are all use our services, and they absolutely love it. So you could reach out to them. I have testimonials for you. You could go to our website as well, which I can give you information to, va.betterthanrich.com, VA like virtual assistants .betterthanrich.com. But ultimately, that's the short answers to your questions there. But let me tie a bow, and then we can go to any questions. Sound good?
Perfect.
All right, McDonaldifying your business, if-then logic. So if-then logic is the key to everything in your business. If somebody does this, then what does that trigger? And that's what McDonald's has done to be able to go from this self-checkouts about 5 to 10 years ago to now having a fully automated McDonald's location. So how do they do that? Is by simplifying using if-then logic. If a client inquires, then they receive this automated personalized response. If a team member completes a task, then the next in line gets notified. Like, how do you just go through everything as a flow chart? And a flow chart kind of looks something like this. So if you're, again, just as an example, for the talent journey, say you're hiring someone. I hire someone, I want them into a welcome sequence, then they get access to our learning management platform, an online platform, and then they get a training confirmation email. Then they start training. When they start training, then they meet the staff. If they meet the staff, then they get a clear agenda. So it's just like a series of if-then. Same thing on a client journey. I know it's a little small, but it's like they book up the pre-call sequence. They book a call. They no-showed for the call. If they no-show for the call, then what happens? If they do show for the call, then what happens? If they're interested, what happens? If they're not qualified, what happens? If they are qualified, what happens? So it's just all the if-thens in a flow chart type of sequence, just to zoom in and show you what this looks like, just so you could see if then, if then, if then. Do that for every part of your business. And once you do that for each part of your business, then what you could do with your new AI-informed virtual assistant team is creating an SOP or a playbook. Once you have the if-thens, now you can partner up with your AI-informed virtual assistant team to create playbooks for you and with you. So you record a video of doing the thing, they turn that video into a full playbook that is easy for other people to replicate. And that's essentially what these are two examples. Like, all right, this is the email that we want done. Here's a video of how to do it. This is the welcome video. This is the outline. This is the template. These are the links, hyperlinks. So your new AI your VA team, they can do this for you. And that's essentially why I highly recommend you having a team. Like they'll create
I didn't
SOPs.
understand why.
Oh,
So they'll do your admin, they'll do your inbox management, the calendar management, social media management, prospecting, lead gen. Let them handle all of that stuff for you. So epiphany number 3 for me, having a process for how I do business with a solid process at the core with team and tech. Those are the forces that allow me to win back my time. It's been remarkable for me on this journey, and I just want to help as many other people as possible.
dude, this is really good. So I really appreciate you going over all the epiphanies, and just kind of, I think one of the most important things is people are starting and they like this idea of, oh, this sounds great. I've heard about virtual assistants. I just don't know where to start. And I think you laid a really awesome groundwork, framework, whatever, on like just tactical where you can start, from your dollar per hour, moving all the way to McDonald defying your the if then process. It's really incredible. So we're going to transition now into our member-led Q&A so we can dive deeper on all of these epiphanies that you shared, the framework, get really, really tactical. So
Sure.
For those of you that have listened to the podcast, go find Mike. He's at betterthanrich.com/free call. Mike, just give me a quick, a quick overview of this free call that you're offering to everybody that's listening.
15-minute non-sales call with myself or someone on our team. We'll hop on a call with you, answer any questions that I didn't get to today. And then if you're like, Mike, what the hell? This is overwhelming. I don't want to do this on my own. Then we can set up a call and tell you about our services, a separate call, and tell you about our services. That 15 minutes is literally just tell us what your needs are. We'll answer any questions for you and give you value for 15 minutes. betterthanrich.com/free call.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. And for those of you that are wanting to be able to dive into these member-led Q&As where we can really take this topic and go a little bit deeper and even more tactical and specific to the questions that you have while you're listening to this podcast, the only way to do that is to join the $1 Million Dads community. And that's at milliondollardads.co. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click apply now, get on a call with TJ or myself, and you can learn more about that. So Mike, I appreciate you being here on this part of the podcast. Let's dive into the Q&A, man.
Let's do it.
So first things I'm going to ask my question you did a good job. Did you pull up the sheet too? You have access to it here?
Yeah,
so
I have it in front of me.
You mentioned, I'm going to skip my very first question. One of the things that I've been curious about for a while is how can I leverage a VA for my spouse? And to give you just a little background, my wife stays at home, 4 children, soon to be 5. We homeschool. Plus there's the tasks of the every single day, right? She doesn't really have a dollar per hour activity, but there's all the thing, like meal planning for the week, grocery shopping, organizing the school routine and stuff like that. Is there any examples that you've had of where you've implemented this maybe for your spouse, or others that work with you have implemented for their spouse who's in a similar situation?
Yeah. Former dad, Kevin Waymeyer, we are going to be doing his grocery shopping for him each week. So it's simple. You just let the team know what you want on a sheet, and then Instacart, boom, just deliver it to your door. You could use Whole Foods, Amazon, like it's just depending on the platform. So that's just an easy one because there's already like pockets of getting that done. You just need to inform, let them know what we want. And what's kind of cool is the AI informed team. We've done this where it's like, cool. What type of food or recipes do you want? Put into Chat GPT. Hey, I want meals with this many calories, this much protein, this many carbs, and with less than 5 ingredients. Cool. Give me 10 meals like that. Put it in the AI. And now they have the ingredients, and the VAs can just go buy those ingredients and have that delivered. So that's like an example for a grocery shopping list on how you can leverage AI and having a VA. So all you do is just show up to the door and the groceries show up there. So Instacart or, Whole Foods, Amazon Prime type of setup. The big answer to this question is we've had Kathy Kristen use of VAs doing research for different schools in the area. So they researched the different schools and called the schools to arrange appointments for her. So that way, all she had to do was just show up to the appointment. She didn't actually have to talk. My wife hosts a blog for her journey with our son. So one of the concerns was if the blog wasn't backed up. So one of our VAs goes in and copies and pastes the blog and puts it onto a Google Doc to back it up for her as an example, just so it's backed up. if you think through using the examples that you said, who are the calls that need to get made? What are the appointments that need to get made? And how much of that can be offloaded to someone that's not mom? Those are a couple of the curiosities that show up for me. Now, letting go of that control, that might be a separate conversation between, how do you invite your spouse to let go of control of something that she's familiar controlling all the time? But maybe this isn't a VA that does this. I mean, for me, we just moved into her home. I hired a home organizer to come in and organize my wife's bathroom for her, because I knew she was going to do it anyway. But it was like, let me hire this home organizer. She was like $80 an hour, but a 6-hour minimum. It was awesome. My wife was super pleased. We hire a cleaning team, so it's not a VA, but it's a cleaning team that comes in twice a month to clean. I hired a handyman to mount my TVs. I could have done it, but he only charged me $45 a TV or $35 a TV. For me, it was just too much time and a headache that I didn't want to deal with. So it's like thinking in those different ways of, maybe it's not a virtual assistant, but maybe there's help. And those are immediate ideas that show up.
That's awesome. I didn't even know home organizers were a thing, so I wrote that down.
Yeah.
One of the things that really is clear is also going back to the buckets of things, sharing with my wife maybe all of her things, not the buckets, all of the tasks that she does on a weekly basis is probably super relevant and helpful for her to identify those things. And then, because what I'm finding right now is, as those things come up, I'm taking them over. So I've started taking over the grocery shopping. I've taken over cooking more food. I've taken over cleaning and stuff more. So, yeah, maybe it's offloading on her, but it's really stressing me out. So TJ, you have a boatload of questions here to go over. So I'm gonna let you come off and ask your most important ones first. And then if, as TJ's going through, guys, if anybody else that, you can click on the link and add your questions in, and I'll let you kind of come off and ask your question. And then, or if you have it, you can just come off of mute, raise your digital hand, and I'll let you come off of mute on here on the Zoom.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing this, Mike. This has been awesome. As far as finding these VAs, how do you recruit and especially vet them? I know, I guess, what are your favorite sites, but then also, okay, once you get somebody on for an interview, how can you really tell if they're going to be good or not? I've just had so many that just, they kind of say the right things and then they end up not being good. So any thoughts or feedback on that first step of getting them on your team?
Yeah. So for us, every single VA that we've hired has been vetted by my head VA. So we built out a whole process, and it's a lot of word of mouth at this point because we offer work from home and it's really flexible. It's a great culture. So for us specifically, but there are I'll answer the question about the process one, because that's what I'm going to be able to help with most, because the answer to the first question is you should just use our services, because we're doing that for you. But because there is not an easy way. It is literally hiring, like you're going out on Indeed.com or going on one of these sites and hiring and looking for talent. So it's a little bit more challenging. We took that piece of the puzzle out of it for business owners, but for anybody that wants to do that piece, post ads, get ads. But here's our process once we have people who inquire. So step one is they send us their resume. And then step two, we have them watch a video. So I created a video of me explaining our company overview of exactly who we are, what we do, what I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick and just show you, but what essentially what it means to work with our company is this process that I put together. I'm seeing if I could find it for you and just share it with you. So this is what my VA created, and I'll just share this screen here. Maybe this could help. So VA hiring SOP. So referrals, applications, gather referrals, applications. Step two, reach out via text, initiate the conversation. And for some responses, first email outreach, then an outreach email, respond to the emails, resume. So this is essentially where I was starting. So we collect their resume, and then we have them fill out a form. We have them watch a video and then fill out a form. The pre-recorded video is of me explain the company's culture, the values, expectations, and we encourage them to watch the full video. At the end of the video, it tells them, go to this site to fill out your form. They fill out the form, and in that form are some questions about the video that they just watched, along with some qualifying questions. Then once they fill that out, we send them a Loom video. We ask them to send us a Loom video along with screenshot of their computer specs and their computer speed to make sure that those qualify. And then we also have them take an English assessment, making sure that their speaking is good. That's what this Loom video is. So I want to make sure they could speak well, but I also want to make sure that they can, understand English well. So we have them take an assessment in there too. And then interview email that needs confirmation. That's, you could see, send an email with time, date, making sure that they are good. Then we finally have a meeting with them one-on-one. So during that one-on-one, that's where we test the speed test. We have them do the skill set, as you can see here. Step 13 is where we finally make an offer. So they've gone through 12 hoops before we make an offer to them, and they've gone through 9 hoops before we even meet with them one-on-one.
I love that. For that first call with them, is that you or is that your head VA?
That's Hannah. That's my head VA.
Okay. The head VA. Okay.
Yeah. So so I've actually never actually interviewed any of our virtual assistant teams. I've only done the recordings of the videos. Except one time I recorded the group interview. So I recorded one group interview that I did, and that's now become the video that they watch.
Yep.
So
at this point, you're trusting your head VA to kind of know what, if somebody's good enough to join your team or not, essentially.
Yeah, because she's going to be the one reporting to them and working with them. Yeah, exactly. I still have my finger on the pulse though. Like I see, so we built out a process. This is actually really cool. I think you'll appreciate this too. This is a little bit much, very behind the scenes, pulling the curtain back here and offering it. But this onboarding process that I built out is really cool. So inside of Thinkific, we instruct the candidate to complete different modules inside Thinkific. And then as they complete them, we have them post in Slack, and I'll show you. Again, I'll show you exactly what it looks like, peeling back the curtain for you and just giving you everything here. So it looks like this. If I go to hiring, we have a separate Slack channel for internal hiring. Oh, VA training right here. So anytime we have someone new, hashtag form, that means they watched the video, fill out the form, installed. That means they installed what we asked them to install: PayPal, Asana, Finish, right? So anytime we hire someone new, they're just posting inside this Slack channel. So I can see their progress as they're going through the onboarding process indirectly. And I'm not even doing anything, but I could see how they're pacing. And if there's like a large gap in between videos and they got interrupted or they fall off, or I'll ask, I'll just like kind of ping and be like, hey, did they decide to quit? Or are they opting out? So it's like, we're giving them all these different hoops to jump through before we even train them. And that way, by the time we train them, they're excited and eager to work for us. We got them integrated into the culture, and they see that we're really organized in our processes. And it's been serving us so far. It's probably due for an upgrade at some point in the near future, but this is what got us to this point so far. And maybe there's something there that you could, use for yourself.
Yeah, no, love it. Love it. Also real quick too,
that's wild. That's like that peek to your Slack and like seeing all the process and just how you had you make it look so easy. And I know there's a lot of hours and grueling grinding involved in that, dude, but that is incredible, the process that you've built out.
And that's those if thens. And this is just what works for me and our business. But the idea of the if thens is what I inspire all business owners to think. But you can't think in if thens if you're answering every phone call, responding to every email, or handling your social media. Like, you can't do it. And that's why it goes back to everything I shared before.
Yeah, makes sense. Quick question on this. So do you really have like one amazing VA who you're talking about, who kind of manages the business essentially? Or
I don't have just one. I mean, we have a team. I mean, I think they're all fantastic. I mean,
No, but I mean, like, is one in chart? Is there one like high up on the chart?
I have one
think
that's
for
most
context-
experienced because she's been working with me the longest. But each of them, just like you run a business, they have departments. So we have Jareen as the head of marketing. So everything marketing relating, she's like runs marketing and has a team underneath her. And then we have Katrina, who's one of our account managers, and she runs accounts for 10 different clients. We have Hannah, who runs 10 accounts for other clients. We have John Dell, who does everything automation, so everything CRM related or technology. So he has his technology team. We have Emin, who leads our video editing. So anything that's video editing or Descript or, you know, those types of content creation materials when it comes to digital graphics, that's him. Michelle's the head of graphic design. So it's like we have these specialists, and then underneath those specialists are doer Carl, everything inbox management, inbox and calendar management. Gene is everything lead gen. So anything lead gen, this is something that's wild. We do an organic outreach lead gen for I would say probably 70% of our clients have lead gen happening for them from a virtual assistant team. So it's like lead gen of prospecting, organic messaging, hitting up everyone in your target market. This is something that's happening for me literally right now. I could again peel back the curtain and show you. This is what it looks like. It's probably, I could open up my inbox. It's probably happening at this second in time right now, but let's see. Because this is someone's designated job is lead gen. So you can see 3 hours ago, I guess. So this is what she sent. So it's like a post, a voice memo, and then she didn't respond. So sending another follow-up message as an example here. Let's see someone who did respond. Wishing a happy birthday message and then getting a response. So a happy birthday message as an example here. And I got to unread Christopher so that way they could see that just as an example. So they're sending these messages out, prospecting like this here. It's a organic message. Wow, your transformation is truly inspiring. It's amazing how belief in ourselves and taking actionable steps lead to such incredible growth. It's great to connect with a fellow member. That sounds like me. It's coming from me. This voice memo is from me.
And by the way, obviously, you know, the whole purpose is for me to kind of separate myself from being a bot, you know, and I'm sure your inbox gets full, and you know, I'm sure you have a bunch of different people message you, but you know, when I see someone who has a decent amount of mutual friends and connections as me, it's like, man, maybe I should get to know them a little bit better, and how do I kind of break through their inbox and break through the noise in an authentic, organic way. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So I hope you could appreciate that, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.
So instead of me doing this copy paste work and going to their profile, I've trained our VA team to do lead gen, to forward a voice memo from me, copy and paste this from me. And I could assume that this VA also went and liked and commented on some of her things. So if I went in here, yeah, I loved this. And I said, keep shining and making a positive impact. So we have an organic approach where we hit her up with a couple of loves, a couple of comments, or an authentic message with a voice memo. I personally have a 33% engagement response rate from people doing that. And then I'll hop in and I could support in the inbox. I'm actually training another VA right now to use AI to act as me in the inbox, but just to get the responses. Some of our clients are up to 42% response rate, which is really awesome. So some are a little lower. It depends on their social media presence and their platform. You got to make sure you're posting content. You got to make sure you're a legit profile and posting our stories. But the lead gen aspect of it is pretty wild as to what you can do when you just really figure out what you want done. Again, I think I went into the weeds a lot with that, but I
that's good.
that was awesome.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, I think the voice memo thing alone is like, that's just never even occurred to me. That's amazing. Absolutely love that.
Yeah. It's cool stuff, man. I love, this is like a game that is just like a fun game to play, kind of like crypto to you. This is kind of like the fun game for me, just to make it personal. It's like, how personal can I make not me feel?
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I was really connected, like your idea of, you know, having somebody listen to podcasts and then reaching out as you for those podcasts. That one's pretty incredible too, because that's exactly one of my personal goals in building $1 Million Dads is to do that exact model, to reach out to. That's the best way to to have people learn more about your
And
organization, group?
we just started this, but I could peel back the curtain on this. This we just started this, so you could see they've only reached out to 24 on this sheet, and then a friend, Rachel Richards, gave me a list of people to reach out to. But what the process is that you can see I have 2 assistants dedicated to this. They'll go find the podcast. They'll go listen to a podcast episode or a part of it, leave a rating and review on the podcast, and then send an email and CC me on the email saying, hey, I can actually just pull up the email. So it's just like, again, I'm showing you, because all of you are me. Like every single one of you are me, and we're all dads. We're all busy entrepreneurs. Like I fully anticipate you'll want to, you could help me in something in the future. So if I could help you in this is the bread and butter for me. So I just to show you what this looks like. So this is, okay, so right here. So Gene said, hey, Chloe, just finished listening to your podcast episode, Quick Money Tip number 40, how to find a mentor, great podcast, 5-star rating. She left an organic review, why she liked the episode. And then I've CC'd Mike Abramowitz on this email because I think he'd be a fantastic addition to your podcast. I highly recommend him on your show. So Gene sent that.
So they don't know. That wasn't like that. This Gene is tied to you or is
correct.
You. This is just like a random person who's like, hey, I know a guy who'd be a great guest.
That's the strategy. Correct.
That's great.
And then me, which is my VA, Carl, he manages my inbox. So he saw this email from Gene. So he goes in with the template that I created. Gene, thanks so much for the introduction. Suggestions, very kind. Hey, Chloe, if you're taking on new guests at the moment, here's my bio. I attached my bio here. So it makes me
again frictionless, right? People remember it's frictionless for them to be able to see this.
And then it's like, I've been a guest on the 20 plus podcasts. Here's all the podcasts I've been a guest on with hyperlinks to them. I'm the co-host of this podcast. Feel free to send over your link if you think I could align with your audience. So Carl sends this, Gene sends this and does this. So Gene and Patience do this, tag with Carl doing this. And I'm still refining the scripts and the processes, but this is new for me because I went to my plant medicine ceremony and decided I want to do speaking engagements like this because this is fun for me. And I want to do 100 of these by the end of February. So if any of you have a platform that you would like me to speak on or teach on, I'm here for it. I have 90 more to go by the end of February. So I'm really looking forward. I just love, like, it fills me up to do this, and I need to spend more time in that zone of genius. So
love it.
This is freaking awesome. I'm going to finish it up here. I'm going to ask the coveted pricing question as we let you go out of your time. Just kind of like when somebody's trying to budget for something like this, what can you expect? Because I've seen VA companies where you can pay $4 an hour, and I've seen VAs companies where you spend $25 an hour. And I know that, it's like some of these companies, it just goes to like the VA still gets $2 an hour, and the company's like, and they're not doing half of what you guys are doing for them, right? Or for your clients. So is there a general rule of thumb?
The Fiverr Upwork idea that I shared before, that's more of like a task or a project type of approach to your business. It's like, I have a task, I have a project, let me go find someone on Fiverr that could do it for us. And I still use that every so often. But what we offer that's very unique to the marketplace is we're assigning a team of doers. It's not just giving you a VA. It's like a team of specialists that could do it all versus just like one person that I'm gonna just assign stuff to. The way we created it is, imagine if you were gonna go on Indeed.com and hire a new assistant, but you were gonna hire an assistant for $17 to $22 an hour, and you had to pay taxes on it. You got to give them benefits. You got to give them a certain amount of hours each month to make sure they're satisfied. That's our comparison. So for our services, we're not competing with like low wage workers, and we're not competing with the Fiverrs and the Upworks, and we're not competing with those, an executive assistant that you're paying 50 or 60,000 a year to. Our sweet spot is, if you were going to hire a stateside assistant that you were going to pay 17 to 22 bucks an hour, something like that, in that range, to do as an administrative assistant and all this type of work for you, instead of going to them, we want you to go with us because we give you way more than what you would have to spend and time spend because if that one person doesn't work out, then you got to go find more and hire other people. It's just like a time suck for an entrepreneur. We find the team for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But if somebody was going to go do it on their own, I would suggest do what I did. I mean, I paid an agency $2,500 and they found me my great qualified VA. And if she wasn't good, they would find me another one within 6 months. It's 6 months to find the perfect person for me. But that was it. It was just one person. And then I had to pay her our agreed upon wage, which is usually in that like, $5 to $10 an hour type of range that you pay somebody, depending. And you could find some for 3, you could find some for 12. It just depends. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. For as we wrap this here, how you want to get on, you want to do 90 more speaking engagements. You probably also want to sell some more services to people as well, right? Like that would probably be a helpful part of it. I know that's not your primary focus. Your strategy or your thought process is if I provide enough value, it'll come back to me at some point. And I'm not really worried about that. So I really appreciate that approach. How can those that are watching the replay here that have jumped, we've had people coming in and out and jumping off. What would make this a win for you, and how can they get in touch with you? Maybe I know you're offering the time audit call, but also maybe a sales call. What does that look like, and how can we
well, from
more?
That free call, betterthanrich.com/free call, let us serve you, give you value, and then at the end of that, if you're like, all right, listen, I'm ready to buy, just like perfect, we'll set up a call and you could purchase. I mean, our services, the reason why I don't want to like talk prices, because this is being recorded now, we're actually changing in the next 30 to 60 days our pricing model. Right now we're on a per hour model, like a monthly subscription per hour model. And we've reached just under 70 clients now in this model, and we're starting to get bottlenecked and we can't really scale on this model as well as we want. So we're moving to a task or project type of model where it's like inbox management for one rate, social media creation for one rate, lead gen for one rate, podcast support one rate. So it's not per hour, it's more for like types of tasks or projects. And that's going to change. So the pricing model of where we're at right now is a based like an 80 hour a month or 160 hour a month monthly subscription per hour model. And you essentially have a certain amount of hours, 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week, and per month we just get stuff done for you, whatever you need during that time frame. So if you're watching this before, I would say just if you're in during 2023, we're still on this model. I'd like to get it done by December of this year, but for sure going into 2024, we'll have a whole new type of offer that's going to be a little bit different than what we're doing right now.
Cool. TJ, anything else? Otherwise, we're going to let Mike rock.
No, this was awesome. Thanks so much, Mike.